A name just jumped from wish list to green light. And if you're hearing me in the next few minutes, you're catching the story while it's still warm enough to bend the shape of our season. I'm breaking rhythm because the window that usually creaks open in late October is suddenly on its hinges, and the decision makers here know exactly what it buys cleaner Sundays for Caleb Williams. Scoreboard control in the fourth quarter, and a version of Bears football that forces defenses to play honest from the first snap to the last. Here's what I'm about to deliver to you like you're sitting in the room. Why our self-scout says the backfield is one hammer short and what that hammer does to coverage. The real price band front offices are whispering for an elite 3 down. Closer in the final year of his rookie deal, how the cap fits now without breaking the bill later. How the next month of weather and opponents turns this from luxury to requirement. What the role looks like snap to snap next to Dandre Swift. The human layer inside the locker room. And finally the name that ties this all together. No smoke, no coyness, just football and timing. I'm going to start on the grass because tape writes truth even when rumors are loud. The Bears' offense is designed to live in answers, not miracles. First down efficiency, second and manageable, a screen game that steals cheap yards keepers. That threaten edges and shot plays launched from a platform that's not collapsing. We flashed it in stretches, swift bending flows with patience. The line stringing outside zone with better landmark discipline. The quick gain clicking against soft shells. But in every Tuesday audit, the same red circle shows up. We're light on yards after contact against light boxes and missing a closer. Who changes the math in the last 5 minutes when the air gets cold and the stadium starts to lean. You raise a rookie quarterback's floor by buying him breathable downs. And you buy breathable downs with a back who punishes nickel, stops blitzers from timing their runways, and turns 3rd and 7 into 3rd and 3 without trickery. That profile exists, and it's available at a number that makes grown-up sense because the league keeps discounting runners until one threatens to swing a playoff bracket. The valuation band is not fantasy. It's late day 3 as a base, with a bump if 2 teams refuse to blink, or if you tie conditions to snaps and team results. That's exactly why this conversation is live. You're not mortgaging your future. You're renting a finisher at a price that understands the position, the contract clock, and the leverage of a player whose current situation has started to leak into the public feed. I can hear you asking, without asking, what about the cap? It fits now if you structure per-game roster bonuses and roll guarantees the smart way. It fits later because you're buying the right to decide ride the rental and play the comp pick. Game in March or sit down for an extension that protects the team against volatility while still paying for production that moves chains and closes games. Cap space isn't a website screenshot. It's a plan aligned with a core. If the player is the plan, the numbers follow, not the other way around. Back to the field. Pairing a home run Russ Swift is not duplication. It's dissonance for the defense. Swift manipulates second-level angles, kills you when you overrun, and turns screens into punish calls. His partner will pull safeties one step closer, force linebackers to trigger a beat sooner, and make duo and mid-zone feel like body blows. In the second quarter, so that toss, crack, and counter tray start landing haymakers in the fourth. Suddenly 12 personnel isn't a tell because both backs can motion wide, catch in space, and protect in 6-man answers when you want to climb the ladder with a deep comeback or post. Suddenly your RPO menu stops being a bandage and starts being a problem by itself because the run half is as credible as the pass half. And defensive coordinators hate living in pick your poison more than they hate Monday film. The locker room calculus is grown man simple. Veterans don't want slogans. They want drives that end with the ball in the official's hands. A closer at running back gives your defense shorter fields and your quarterback a downshift when the game asks for maturity. Coaches get to call a game, not survive one. And the young wideouts learn the best lesson of all. Your route has more space when defenders are tired of tackling a human sledgehammer for 3 quarters. Durability? That's why the ass lives where it lives, with conditions that reward health and usage. Risk? That's why you keep the rotation honest and the sports science plan tight. Role clarity? That's understaffed from day one. Nobody loses a job. Everyone gains an identity. Timeline pressure is the part of the story that never gets a headline until someone else makes the move first. If the base price sits in the 5th to 6th range with a clean escalator to a 4th, if snaps hit or if the team hits win markers, you do not haggle until the room goes dark. You move while your schedule still has oxygen and the lake has just started to bite. You don't let a division that will be won in December force you to play January football without a January runner. Now breathe, because this is the moment I've been building toward since that time stamp in the first line. The call that moved from curiosity to intent tonight is about Breece Hall. That's the name that changes play calling on first down and body language on fourth. That's the gear you buy when you don't want to ask a rookie quarterback to be a superhero on every 3rd and long. Hall's tape is what you think it is. Violent acceleration to and through the crease, balance through glancing blows, angle route courage on money downs, plus hands for checkdowns that become real offense. And enough pass pro pride to keep the platform clean when you do take a shot. Dropping that into our room next to Swift gives us a two-headed plan that makes defensive coordinators pick the thing they'll live with and then hate living with it for 60 minutes. Picture the immediate shift. Light boxes because defenses still fear Caleb's arm. Duo downhill until they cry uncle. Rotate a safety down and spin late. RPO glance until the nickel stops faking bravery. Go too high and dare us to stay patient. Screen, motion, mid-zone, repeat until the sideline tracks pile up and the clock does the rest. And in the red zone, where we flirted with field goals, a runner who wins contact balance at 2 yards becomes the difference between 7 and 3 more often than Twitter wants to admit. I'm not going to lie to you about the other side of the ledger. There is risk in every trade, and there's pride in a room that believes it's close. But there's also a truth that wins the argument in the league's grown-up rooms. If A, late day 3 pick and a reasonable escalator buy you 2 more wins and a steadier quarterback trajectory, you make that call and you live with the tape. You do it because the North is a knife fight, and because Chicago football and the cold has always been about owning the middle 8 and the final 4. You do it because the blueprint we've been drawing since April was never about being cute. It was about being complete. I want your pulse before I close, because this channel runs on Chicago Voices as much as it runs on my notes. If the board offers Breece Hall at a conservative price with incentives, are you in right now? Or do you ride the current rotation and hold your chips for another position? How would you split touches with Swift in week 1? Which concepts would you feature duo, mid-zone toss crack, counter with Sif, and what does your red zone menu look like with both backs on the field? Drop it below. The smartest plans get pulled into tomorrow's video, and I'll shout you out when we diagram it together. My bottom line read crisp and professional. If the number stays in that 4-5 conditions band, the Bears adding Breece Hall is not a splashy headline for clicks. It's a stability play that protects Caleb Williams, expands the call sheet in cold weather, and turns tight games into our kind of football without touching the future we've been building. If you want these live write downs the moment the phones heat up, lock in with Bears News Fan Report, subscribe, hit the bell, and stick with me. When this moves from court order to transaction wire, you'll have the details here first with the tape, the cap plan, and the why that matters on Sundays.